Greetings, ladies and gentlemen people. I'm Roya Rockwood, the creator and top head administrator of Royameadow and Company, and welcome to what is an anticipations or predictions video for the Republican National Convention. Yes, this is Roya Rockwood at the 2016 Republican National Convention. It was originally supposed to be Royans at the 2016 Republican National Convention, but I guess, unfortunately, nobody wanted to join in because nobody wanted to talk about the coronation of Donald Trump. Because this will basically be the Donald Trump National Convention. This is not even the Republican National Convention whatsoever. I cannot say much aside from that. But I think we could probably kick out some stuff, so let's get things started. So, for those of you that have been living under a rock this whole time and thought that Jeb would be winning the I'm sorry, I can't get enough of yelling Jeb that way. Dang it, Steve. Stephen Colbert's the reason why I call him Jeb, but digressing. So, again, the 2016 campaign season was supposed to have Jeb be the intended nominee. Everybody expected Jeb to win. And then, out of nowhere, completely out of nowhere, Donald Trump makes a bombshell out of left field campaign that has been debatably one of the utmost debatable and controversial campaigns we've seen on the Republican side. And bear in mind, this comes from somebody who is a far-left liberal/libertarian/green rainbow/purple party/Democratic Party supporter. But much to my shock and surprise, I've always questioned the logic of how Donald could actually sway or impact the Republican Party as we view it. Because, he has had a massive shift in the way that he's handled matters. Because from up to 1987, he was a Democrat, and then, I think up to 1998 or 99, he was a part of the Republicans, made his own thing with the Reform Party from 1999 to 01, went back to being a Democrat until 2009, became an independent, I think, in 10 or 11, or maybe it was in 09, for that matter, then went back to being a Republican as of 12. His mindset has shifted so much that I believe that is why Trump 16 has done so well, especially since he's also had a massive spotlight in the public eye for a rather long time alongside the massive amounts of media coverage, I think more than virtually any other candidate in the race, even more than Hillary Rodham and significantly more than Bernie Sanders, unfortunately. One of the things, if I had to say, though, is that most of the time, the conventions are usually by the book. 2012 was a bit by the book. When John McCain ended up winning the nomination in 08, that was kind of by the book. This time, I think it's going to be more of like a celebrity expo than an actual convention. And that is, I think, what kind of worries the majority of the Republican Party. Heck, Donald's views can go right out the window, even with Trump Pence as the nominee. Indiana Governor Mike Pence. I'll be truthful, I actually do not know much about Indiana Governor Mike Pence, even though I am aware that he had come under fire, I think, for a few things that he had done back in the, I think it was back in the 90s, the late 80s, early 90s, in terms of how he handled matters in Indiana, whether it was certain legal systems that he wanted to have implemented or whatever. And it also appears as if he has a strong, he wants to abolish, I think, the Roe v. Wade, Roe v. Wade ruling. I think that. I'd have to double check just to make sure. But I understand why Donald would choose Mike Pence. I believe he wants to make sure that his campaign is as far to the right as it could probably become. The only issue is that I believe that the Make America Great Again campaign slogan, which, bear in mind, Ronald Reagan used that in 1980. Let's Make America Great Again was the official slogan. It has basically, I don't know if I could say that he has damaged Ronald Reagan's campaign or if it has done any good in its own right. To me, I can't really say. I can't say much. But what I do hope is that at this convention, regardless of, Donald's views or the slogan or even Mike Pence, that we will have a fun time. That is what I hope we'll be able to have, because over on CBS, Stephen Colbert, he's going to be having live episodes after the convention, usually about 30-35 minutes after the convention is over for the day. And I think Bill Maher is doing his own stuff for the convention in, I think, like 8 or 10 special episodes of his series Real Time. So I hope that they're gonna have some really lovely jokes come this convention. Like, I'm sure that they have to think of these jokes on the fly, but the fact that they're gonna be doing it live will indeed be a very interesting way to get more people into actually watching all 4 days. And I hope that I will be covering all 4 days. I don't know if I'll be doing them in the forms of audio logs or if I'm going to be doing them in Twitter posts. If I decide to do the latter, then do not expect the 4 extra episodes for days 1 to 4 as I had originally intended to. I was originally only intending to do those if we had a media panel, because I was supposed to have a big Enos media panel for this for this convention. At least 4 people. And unfortunately, of course, I really don't have a lot of Republicans around here, apparently. Heck, not even Democrats or any kind of independents or other parties out there. Nobody wanted to talk about Donald, so I'm sadly the only one that has to cover this convention out of all the Royans. Ridiculous, right? So what are we going to be expecting out of this? Well, aside from the fact that I might or might not do 4 extra episodes. So, of course, this is the predictions episode, and then there's going to be the Aftermath episode on the, what is that? It's going to be on the 22nd. The Aftermath video will be on the 22nd, literally hours before whatever Sega announces for the next Sonic title, or the future of the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. Right now, of course, one of the things I am kind of predicting is that there will be major debate as to how the convention will be handled and as to how the nomination process will be, because Republicans left and right are either jumping on the Hillary bandwagon or they just won't go to the convention. John McCain, I think, is going to be in South Dakota that day. Neither Bush 41 nor 43 wants to be there. Jeb doesn't want to be there. Donald was, I guess, supposed to have Tim Tebow on be one of the speakers, and of course that ended up going haywire. I understand why Tim Tebow wouldn't want to be there at the convention, though. So yeah, I guess it's going to be like a major celebrity-sponsored event in his case, which I understand exactly why. Donald's a businessman. He's from New York. Obviously, he would want his own to be there, but I guess nobody wants him anymore. It's kind of a shame, but hey. You get what you get, right? So, I've got the list of convention speakers here, so let's see, who the heck are we going to be having? Because I really don't know. Let's see, again, this is right from Wikipedia, so I apologize if any of this is entirely inaccurate. Let's see, so an early roster of speakers obtained by the New York Times in July of 2016 and confirmed by 2 people with direct knowledge of the convention planning have these speakers listed. So let's see. So for night 1, we have Jamil Shah Sr. I've never heard of this guy, not at all. Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas, or Arkansas, as some of you might pronounce it as. Rudy Giuliani, former mayor of New York City. I actually am kind of anticipating what he will be talking about, because, I think when was the first time I was exposed to Rudy Giuliani? I think it was actually in that one episode of Seinfeld. The one involving the non-fat yogurt, and, Jerry's like, this yogurt is bleeping good. I usually say ducking, but, of course, they had to censor it out because it's the F word. Oh my goodness. I hope the DVD version of Seinfeld actually has that uncensored. But, yeah, funny thing, I remember in that episode, what happened was, I guess Kramer was making out with a scientist, and I guess some fat formula ended up in Rudy Giuliani's blood sample. And that's basically how I found out about Rudy Giuliani. I know, as ridiculous as it sounds, that I believe was debatably one of the best ways to be introduced to the former mayor of New York City. Definitely was well worth the time. And I've seen his politics ever since. Even though he has a right-wing bias, I'm sure that he'll deliver a massive amount of impact to day one, or night one. So that'll indeed be something worth watching. And even Melania Trump, yes, Donald's wife will be speaking during night one, which I'm not surprised. That kind of makes sense. It feels balanced. It feels logical. But don't you think you would open with your wife if you were if you were the one that was hosting an event or the main event? Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa. I've heard of Joni Ernst every once in a while. I think that Joni Ernst was one of the... Yeah. Oh, yeah, I totally remember her. Yep, Joni K. Culver. Yeah, I think I had seen her a little bit during the beginning of the main campaign season, but I didn't really hear too much of her afterwards. I'm not actually sure who she endorsed, by the way. While this was all going on, I would definitely have to look more into her at some point in future time. I'm not going to do that right now because, again, this is just a predictions video. This is not me trying to ramble about for a constant hour. See, night 2 we have Dana White. Never heard of her. Oh, she's the president of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, the UFC. Oh my goodness! Oh, I haven't watched Ultimate Fighting Championship in a long time. Wow. I think it's been since 2008 or 2009. I would always see somebody talk about it on Facebook, or there'd be a random advertisement for it on ABC or CBS. But other than that, I haven't actually watched it in about 7 years. Oh, my goodness. I probably need to get back into it at some point. Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson. She'll also... Is Asa he or is she? Because Asa's one of those... it's one of those unisex names. Okay, Asa's a guy. I apologize, Asa, if you ever end up watching this episode for whatever reason. Who else will be here? Former U.S. Attorney General Michael Mukasey, alongside with retired Lieutenant General Michael T. Flynn. I've heard of him a little bit. Of course, the very controversial Senator Mitch McConnell of Kentucky, who is the current Senate Majority Leader. And, oh man, I don't really know what to really say about Mitch McConnell. I've seen him a good amount in the news, especially after the Republicans ended up taking over the Senate in 14. It was 14, right? I could only imagine what he will be saying. Whether it will be good or bad is well beyond me, but he's one of the reasons why legislature is currently not really doing much of anything at this point in time. That's why we're kind of deadlocked. We're kind of deadlocked in Congress, so I don't know. Maybe we do need... I hope that the Democrats are able to take over the Senate and the House later on in November, but that'll be more discussed come next week. I think we'll talk about that better next week rather than now. Alongside him and the others, you got Donald's daughter, Tiffany Trump. You also have Donald Trump II. And you end night 2 with Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker. Scott Walker? Oh my goodness. Wow, I'm rather surprised. I would have thought that you would end with Donald Trump II. That kind of makes sense. But no. I hope that Scott Walker has some interesting things to say as well. I don't know what to expect from him. Because he's been in the news every once in a while here in Massachusetts, at least in terms of the national news, the evening news with Scott Pelley. But it's never usually anything majorly important. Again, I'm not really a major follower of Republican politics, nor am I usually a follower of politics in Wisconsin. So, yeah, for all that we know, it'll probably be a crazy moment. Maybe not sure. But on to night 3. So, Pam Bondi, the Florida Attorney General. Pam Bondi, I did not officially see her for the first time until after the horrid shooting at Pulse in Orlando. And to be truthful, I appreciate the way that Florida handled the way that the Pulse shooting went. Even if it didn't go in the way that it was expected, I truly do appreciate that Florida kind of has a no Bolshevik mentality with the way that they handled these kind of violent crimes. So like her or hate her, you do have to give Pam Bondi some respective credit for some of the good deeds that she has done, especially with the way that the Pulse shooting was handled. So I hope that she does have some positive things to say regarding our national security, as well as what we need to do moving forward in the case of matters on terrorism. So the fact that they're opening with her will indeed mean that I think that Night 3 will probably be more about national security rather than simple minor stuff. We also have ex-astronaut Eileen Collins. Never heard of her. Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich. Of course, a good amount of you might remember Newt Gingrich. Wasn't he the one that had assisted in the impeachment process of Bill Clinton? I'd have to double check on that. It's been a while since I've heard of Newt Gingrich. Donald was actually possibly considering having Newt Gingrich as one of his as his running mate. But to be truthful, I'll be absolutely clear when I say that I do believe that Mike Pence was a good choice in Trump's decision, because you might actually notice on Twitter that I had made a post. What was it? Trumpin's a bag, a spoonful of Cadbury cream. And let me explain that for a sec, because even though you're looking at like dark black-haired Donald Trump here, or very dark brown, in modern day Donald's hair, as you know, is a decent shade of kind of like cheese blonde or orange. And of course, Mike Pence's hair is white. So when I mentioned Cadbury cream, orange and white, it goes together. It goes together perfectly. Oh my goodness, I can't believe that I just mentioned Cadbury cream about Donald Trump and Mike Pence. What an interesting analogy. I don't know if there's anything sweet about them. And I do not want to know what they're like covered in chocolate. But I digress. Texas Senator Ted Cruz will also be there, and I am actually kind of anticipating on Ted Cruz, because, as we know, Ted Cruz has had a decent amount of, I'd say, I can't say hate, because that would be too strong of a word here, but I would say that he has a very powerful distaste for a lot of the views that Donald would have, especially regarding foreign policy. So I am curious as to what Ted Cruz will say about some of Donald's plans, whether or not it will be major, or something that can really sway the outcome of what could happen at the convention is well beyond me. But wishfully, the people will listen to Ted. Ted Cruz, in my view, is debatably one of the better known right-wing politicians of his generation. So I do hope that the Republican Party can agree that, yes, there does need to be some massive changes to Donald's foreign policy in the event that he is officially the nominee. And that would include the issues regarding Donald's views on immigration, and especially on how we would handle war factors, because this kind of stuff will come up during the 3 debates. I assume it's 3 debates usually. Because I think usually during the main general election phase. Because I remember last time when it was Barack Obama and Joe Biden versus Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan. It was one debate between the two presidential candidates, one debate between the two vice presidential candidates, and then another regarding foreign policy for the third debate. I forget what the first two debates were. I think one was about the economy and one was about domestic affairs. I'd have to double check. Alongside the speakers for night 3, you also have Eric Trump. And, let's see, is Eric... Oh, yes, Eric's one of the other Trump sons. I always forget. Let's see, the professional golfer Natalie Gulbis. Wow, I've never heard of Natalie Gulbis. I'll probably have to watch her sometime. But as far as I'm aware, she's not ever covered on CBS or NBC, so I guess I'll have to resort to cable. or maybe online, who knows. And, of course, they're going to end night 3 with the presumptive nominee, the current presumptive nominee for Vice President, Mike Pence. And again, I am sure that a lot of people will question, who the duck is Mike Pence? I assure you, you will find out who he is soon enough, assuming you haven't already done your research. And of course, night 4 will be the night when Donald officially accepts the nomination, assuming that the Republican Party can't find some way to sabotage the outcome. So here's who you have expected for night 4. You have U.S. Representative Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee, Oklahoma Governor Mary Fallin, not to be confused with Jimmy Fallon, very good comedian, I recommend you watch him. You have Reince Priebus. Reince Priebus, yes, chairman of the Republican National Committee. I'll be truthful. I think he's scared. I wholeheartedly apologize for saying that. But, over the course of this campaign season, Reince Priebus has been, I'd say, rather scared of what could happen if Donald is indeed the nominee. And it's more or less because he has been rather critical of Donald's views on how he would handle a massive lot of things, or at least what he says he would do. Because of course, a good amount of the views that Donald has are not the views that I'd say at least 56, 57% of the Republican Party, maybe a little more or less than that, have a view. So whether or not Reince Priebus actually cares about Donald or the Republican Party, that will definitely come from his speech. It will definitely come from his speech. So we will be expecting a lot from him, hopefully, on the 21st. So that will indeed be something I will be looking forward towards. Of course, you have Florida Governor Rick Scott as well. Billionaire, and I hope I don't butcher your name, Peter Thiel? Or is it Thiel? Is there a way to pronounce it? I'm assuming it's Thiel. But if it's Thiel, then I apologize. He is the co-founder of PayPal, if you are curious. I actually do have a PayPal. If you ever want to donate, feel more than free to do so. Even though I don't really run on money, I could care less about money. The only good thing about money, in my view, and in Alfred Hitchcock's view, is pretty much its purchasing power. But if I ever need some for livelihood or just to enhance our resources, I would be more than happy with a donation. It definitely would be very appreciative of that. Who else do we have? We have 3 more people after Peter Thiel. We have private equity real estate investor Thomas J. Barrack Jr. It's not Barack, even though it's spelled B-A-R-R-A-C-K. It's Barrack. It's Barrack. It's only Barack if there's one R. And then, of course, we end the night with Ivanka and Donald Trump. In that order. They will not come together. Oh my goodness. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry for me. Oh, what a dirty mind, Mr. Roya. What a dirty mind. Well, then again, in 2006, Donald did say if Ivanka wasn't his daughter, he would date her. So I guess it's kind of expected I would say that, but I wholeheartedly apologize. All of this is in good fun and good taste. But this is a rather diverse group of people. Because basically what you're viewing here is you're basically viewing presidents and CEOs. You're viewing some politicians. The only thing I could truly imagine coming out of this convention is that there might be some kind of major relation between businesses and how the Republican Party interacts with them. I think that is actually the reason why Donald has these particular people at what I will potentially call the Donald Trump National Convention. And to be truthful, I think that the Donald Trump National Convention will have a good outcome no matter who is decided to be the nominee. Whether it's Donald Trump, whether a whole bunch of Republicans decide to overthrow the event and, I don't know, have Paul Ryan or somebody else become the nominee. Anything can happen. Anything can virtually happen at this point, and I am definitely willing to see what will come of it. Because of the fact that this technically is the first, well, no, this is not the first convention that I am covering. Well, is it? Because, no. While I was still in school, I kind of covered the 2012 conventions a bit, but I didn't really start covering election stuff, I think, until, I think it goes back to 2008, because that was when I had decided to cover the Democratic National Convention at that time for school. But it's not like this isn't the first convention that I will truly be paying attention to, because, when this body was a baby, apparently I was exposed to the 1996 campaign, to the 1996 conventions. I totally ended up skipping out on 2000 to my memory. I can't fully remember right now. 2004, I think I only got to see when John Kerry ended up becoming the nominee. 2008, I saw it in full on the Democratic side, partially on the Republican side. I saw all of 12. Well, actually, no, not on the Republican side. I saw a good half. I saw at least half of the 12 convention and all of the Democratic side. So 2016 is going to be a bit of a workload for me because I'm doing both conventions and at most 12 episodes. So I hope that this will be indeed a fun time, but to be truthful, I don't know what could come of this. Either Trump and Pence will come out as the nominees, or the Republicans will overthrow the outcome. Donald will have a hissy fit during night 4 and say that he'll go third party. I actually wouldn't be surprised if he tried to do that. Because, to be truthful, I think Donald does better as an independent, or a Democrat for that matter, as opposed to a Republican. I only really remember Donald as a Democrat. In fact, the photo that you are seeing on this wallpaper, this is actually a photo of him while he was on his private jet back in 1987. 1987, as you might remember, is the last official year that he was a Democrat at that point in time. So I thought to myself, I wonder what Donald would probably want if I were to make a Republican National Convention wallpaper. And I thought, why not bring him back to when he was in his prime? Not that he's not in his prime now, but to be truthful, I prefer dark-haired Donald Trump over orange hair any day. I would not be surprised if Donald decided to dye his hair brown or black just for the sake of this convention. I highly doubt it will happen, but it would definitely be a lovely throwback. Definitely a lovely throwback if he decides to do so, but who knows? Who knows? Other issues that I do believe might come up, however, is like the matter on money. Because, as you know, at the end of all the primaries, at the end of the DC primary, I think Hillary Rodham had about, $43-46 million in the bank. I don't know exactly how much Bernie had at the end, but Donald, I think, only had about 3.4 or 3.6 million. It was either 3.4 or 3.6. I can't remember at the moment. But the fact that he would be going into the general election without a lot of money is kind of surprising, because I'm kind of wondering if Donald intends to sell off some assets, or if he intends to basically, I don't know, get rid of his entire life savings just to make this the utmost controversial campaign season of all time. To be truthful, I don't know. We truly will not really know about this until we end up going to the aftermath of the Democratic National Convention, where I do hope that Bernie is able to make it a contested convention in full and come out with the nomination. That would truly be the only reason why Donald would have to get money. But at this point, I'm really unsure. I'm really unsure as to what will come of this convention and its aftermath. But, if Donald wins, he wins, and if Donald ends up getting overthrown, then he will run third party, and the entire outcome of this race ends up being in the hands of the independents. In fact, I think that's how it will turn out anyway. Regardless of how things turn out, the end of the general election will be in the outcome of the independents, and wishfully it is for the best. But if you're wondering if I would vote Donald, I apologize because you're on screen, Donald, but I will still be voting for Bernie. Even if he is not the official nominee, I would still write him in. It's only because his battle plan is indeed the best for this season. Although I am sure that yours would probably work better overseas. Not in Europe, though. We can't have another World War II. No, not at all, not by any means. But to be truthful, if Donald had a more progressive or left-wing view as he did back in the 80s and back in the 2000s, maybe I probably would support Donald more than I am right now. The fact that I'm at least covering him just shows how much I actually do have a liking for the guy. Because, I will say it loudly and clearly. Even though he does have some rather biased views, even though he has had a lot of issues with companies and whatnot, I actually do have a balanced, or at least moderately balanced, it's a moderately balanced view of Donald Trump. I can't fully like him and I can't fully hate him. He's a guy that always delivers mystery, and that is what I like about him being a Gemini, not just in form of business, but also in politics. You don't know what the duck you're going to get from him. That is the only reason why I do believe that if he is the nominee, things will probably be a rather crazy time for us post-convention. So, wishfully, you folks will keep your eye out and see what will come of this, because we're in for the long haul. I don't know what to expect from him. I don't know what he'll say. I don't know if he'll change his entire mindset. I don't know if he'll start acting more presidential as he has promised. It's all up in the air right now. The only question is, will Donald catch it before it's too late? So let's see, it's 3:52. How long have I been recording this for? 34 minutes and 25 seconds. Okay. I think that's okay. I think that I've pretty much gotten the gist of what I am expecting. I don't really know what will come of this. That's basically why I'm stuttering all over the place, and why I'm kind of trying to non sequitur as much as I am. The only thing that I can say, though, is that I'm at least fortunate that the convention is held from the 18th to the 21st, rather than being a 5-day convention, the 18th to the 22nd. And the reason for that is this. Even though I probably will be covering all 4 days, so there will probably be 6 episodes on this channel, day after day, because, the Sonic the Hedgehog 25th Anniversary Special is on the 22nd. And I would rather spend my time watching that than having to cover 2 months of the Republican convention on the 22nd. So any kind of aftermath stuff is going to be done the night of the end of the convention. So I hope that you do have that in mind. So I think by the time that morning comes on that day, I think the time that morning comes on the 22nd, the aftermath video will be up. And it'll basically be my views of the convention in review. I might have some other people on board if they're willing to join. If you are watching this and you are either a part of the team or if you want to join me in like a Skype chat or whatever, then please let me know. Let me know now so that I can prepare later in the week. I will be ready for you when the time comes. Chances are it'll probably be like maybe a 30-minute episode, maybe a 1-hour episode. But whatever comes of it, we'll figure that out when the time comes. Either way, I think I've gotten everything I need to say out right now. So it's on to Cleveland. So with that said, I hope that you are ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow. Tomorrow, because this episode, even though it's uploaded on the 17th, I'm recording it on the 16th, or at least going into the 16th. It's the 15th going into the 16th. So yeah, so wishfully you folks will be ready for the 18th and going onward, because for all that we know, we don't know what could happen. Even though Donald, yes, has the 1,537 delegate soft count right now, anything can happen. I can't say. I honestly can't say at this point. So, we'll see. We'll definitely see. So who will be broadcasting this? Of course, we've got CBS, we got CNN, ABC, NBC, and I think a whole bunch of other networks. I think we'll be covering it. I think the best possible way for you folks to probably watch it, though, is watch it either on television or watch it on CBS News Network. Please bear in mind, I am not endorsing CBS. None of the views on this channel are the views of CBS. But I do feel like the best way to probably view live material, including the convention right now, will be on CBS News Network, or CBSN as they call it. Especially since it's the utmost free network that I could think of right now. So, wishfully, you can go to somewhere such as that to watch full coverage, and then come to me for, an aftermath of each day. So, I know I kind of sound like a broken record by this point, but hey, I hope that this will be a very entertaining convention. That's all I can truly care about right now. If it's not entertaining, then it will not be fun. Is that the best way to say it? Either way. So, I guess I have to get ready. I have to prepare my suit and re-straighten my hair. You can tell it's actually gotten rather long now. I'm actually kind of happy about that. But yeah, I'll be sure to be ready for everything that comes. So, I hope you'll be ready. I know I'll be ready. It's go time. So I'll see you on the 18th.